in. He didn't come in person. He was wearing an anti-suicide vest. Let's talk about that. Tyler Robinson, the individual's name, will likely remain in that suicide vest until his next court appearance 12 days from now. The suspect, as he is known, appeared to confess to the killing to his roommate and his transitioning lover. You know, he thinks he's becoming a lady, but he's not. He did that by way of text message, but also over a Discord. This is a social media platform. Discord, a gaming chat app that the FBI says it is investigating. More than 20 people associated with that chat back and forth where he is talking about killing and murdering. Keep in mind that Robinson could face the death penalty because it's Utah, and they still have the death penalty. In fact, available in Utah is the firing squad, which I think is kind of fun and interesting too. We're here with tonight's squad. Why don't we jump right in? Now, I've got to say, this is. It's moving right along. The suicide vest. Yeah. I guess it's an anti-suicide vest. Because in the Middle East,
he's not an Islamic terrorist.
In the Middle East, they have suicide vests, and those are different. Those go like this, and then everything is done quite the opposite. Cultural differences. You know how those go. But what should we be watching here?
Yeah, well, this is obviously a case that slowly but surely we're learning more and more. We know that this individual threatened suicide. It was only his parents and a friend of the family who convinced him not to commit suicide and instead to turn himself into law enforcement. And so really, I think there's sort of a reckoning that has to happen in this case. As we learn more, this is someone that bought the message of the radical left, hook, line, and sinker, a message that is death and destruction. And it's one that we have seen perpetuated time and time again. And finally, we've reached this tipping point. And I think in the coming days, as this trial, as this case moves forward, we're only going to learn more about how this individual was so indoctrinated into this ideology. And
Bradley, what should we? Thanks for being here. What should we be looking for here? I mean, it's true. The guy he's been indoctrinated by the left to be a hate-filled, murderous, bloodthirsty ghoul, as so many on the left are. And he actually carried out his assassination plot. And the news media is making excuses. I mentioned the news media making excuses for him all over the place. It was an expression of love for his boyfriend who thinks he's his girlfriend.
Yeah, it's the left taking off the mask on these two major issues. Steve Deace recently called it Trans-Tifa. I think that's a good branding for this group, because we saw people like Bill Maher say it was too soon to tell whether or not this person was motivated by political animus for Charlie Kirk, that we didn't know for a fact if he was a deranged leftist. Of course, everybody knew that he was. And the reason that you knew that was because the left trotted out, well, what about Minnesota? Well, guess what? That person really wasn't a Trump supporter. He had no King's signs in his car.
Right.
What about Josh Shapiro? That was about Israel and Palestine. That was their first line of defense, saying that there's political violence on both sides. So there's an admission that they knew it was leftist violence. The other thing is you see this Discord chat and these messages between his transgender roommate and himself. If the left did not think that transgenderism and radical leftist ideologies like it had nothing to do with this murder, they would be putting this roommate on a pedestal. Because, frankly, the roommate did the right thing. He turned in Tyler Robinson, or at least helped in that effort, and condemned what he did totally.
And his
but
father.
They're not doing that, and that's a big, big tell.
Well, even Jimmy Kimmel and the entertainment left media trying to pin this on MAGA supporters. Oh, he's clearly, because his father apparently is pro-Trump. So they say, well, his father's pro-Trump, so we're going to blame Trump supporters for the assassination of a Trump supporter. This is their brains are very tiny, malfunctioning brains. Questions remain surrounding this Discord chat that we're talking about, and Robinson was part of it. The Washington Post, of all people, reported that Discord has submitted a copy of the chat and the text of the chat to authorities. The report also adds that there is no evidence thus far that the plot to kill Charlie Kirk was planned on Discord. And so Katie Gorka is here. This is so great. And Katie, so Discord is saying, well, don't blame us just because the people involved were on there. But this is, and they've got this blue sky thing where people are celebrating and talking about murdering more people that they consider to be not transgender friendly enough, like the author J.K. Rowling. They want to murder elderly women in the United Kingdom. And this is today's Democrat Party. Let's make no mistake about it. This is the mainstream of the Democrat Party in 2025.
Yeah, it's been incredible. I think as shocking as Charlie Kirk's murder was, I think Americans have been every bit as shocked by the vituperation that has come out in the days that followed. People are just so ugly and so vicious, and it's across the board. You know, the one that I think really appalled me the most was the mother. Now comes out, she's a preschool teacher, exploiting her two girls, let's talk about that, putting her children on in order to get a few more likes on social media, but, you know, prompting them and saying, you know what the great news is? And they say, what? Trump died? I mean, it's just unbelievable how the left is celebrating this kind of evil and cultivating it in their children.
That story gets even worse because the woman who is a preschool teacher influencing the next generation of tiny children, probably trying to turn them into transgenders too. What, a 9-year-old girl and a 10-year-old girl, 7-year-old girl, 9-year-old girl, whatever. Oh, second greatest news. Vice President was killed? No. And Elon Musk was killed, these little kids. Now, it turns out her husband is a lieutenant colonel in the Army, in the United States Army, not some other army. And this is what Democrats are raising children like this in America. I think child welfare services jump in and take the kids away from that psychotic woman and her probably dangerous husband. 1 week after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it was 1 week ago today, leaders in Congress are now looking for more protection. It's making about them, with reports now saying that the Trump administration is asking Congress, and they'll approve it in no time, to approve an additional $58 million to protect the judicial and legislative branches of government from the Democratic Party.
Well, the ironic thing, obviously, is that you have defund the police Democrats who are going to vote to fund police to protect themselves, giving themselves the Second Amendment
with guns.
Protection.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, these are not going to be unarmed security
Right.
because what is the point of that? Everyone other than a defund the police activist would understand this. I think you're right. It will be passed, and it probably should be passed because, as we talk about on the show, Steve Scalise was one hair's breadth away from being murdered by a Bernie Sanders volunteer, and unfortunately, the threat of political violence is, by the way, entirely from the left or deranged Palestinian activists. Like 110% of it is coming from those two groups in America. And to the extent it would come from the right, that's bad, and they should also be executed. But that's not what you need to worry about. And I do love that there are so many Democrats. Cori Bush, who obviously was thrown out of Congress by her own voters, she was one of the worst, most egregious examples of these defund the police psychopaths having, like, deranged armed security guards who believe that the world is like 5 trillion years old and that she's a spiritual healer. So the Democrats, they will always vote to give themselves what they want to deny to everyone else, which is an unfortunate reality. But I think as far as 38 whatever million dollars, okay, we should probably not have, when Congress hangs on a balance like this, we should probably not have anyone get assassinated.
It's 58.
brings up such a good point, though, because
Thank you.
it's not hypocrisy. What you're seeing playing out in real time is hierarchy. It's hierarchy imposed by the Democratic Party to say that we are afforded the protections that the average American people are not afforded.
Well, they'll take from the average American people. They'll vote to take it.
Right, exactly.
It's $58 million now. I think you said 38.
Okay, so I said 38 something.
But this will be $1 billion next year.
Exactly.
I mean, this is going to be, they're going to have private airplanes. Commercial. Now, they've got chauffeur-driven armored limousines and teams of men with pistols
They
around them.
just need Cybertrucks. They just need a fleet of
They
Cybertrucks.
need they're sturdy. We know they're sturdy because a Democrat blew one up in front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas and killed himself.
But by the way, isn't that such a crazy way to have started this year off, which that feels like a long time ago? That was New Year's Day when that Tesla was blown up in Las Vegas outside the Trump Hotel. And the same thing happened. The media said, well, we don't know the motive of blowing up a car made by Elon Musk right in front of a hotel with Trump's name on it.
Right.
It could have been anything.
They wouldn't want to leap to any conclusions.
And you mentioned, you didn't say his name. I don't remember his name because I'd never heard of him. But this guy on ABC News was saying, oh, these texts that show premeditated motivation to murder someone for political ideology. This guy on ABC said, you know, this just shows that this was a loving boyfriend.
We've got that. We have that coming up, actually. Matt Gutman is the bad reporter's name. We know that the left, never misses an opportunity to make an event all about themselves and somehow enrich themselves and get more free stuff and armed security and drivers and things like that. Take a look at these people who showed up to a vigil for Charlie Kirk at the University of Texas in San Antonio, who, it's just amazing. They so badly want to free Palestine, but get a load of this. They can't even be bothered spelling the word Palestine correctly on their own signs.
Chris.
They must have gone to Ivy League schools.
This is the best thing about it, is that there is no P sound in Arabic. That is how fake Palestine is, that the people who speak the language literally cannot even pronounce it.
Isn't that great? So they show up, and it's a Charlie Kirk event, and they show up defending a radical Islamic terrorist group that has genocidal hatred for the Jewish people, and the geniuses can't even spell the subject of their desire.
And once again, the radical left shows that they are so in touch with the American people. They really understand. I mean, I do sometimes appreciate these events just because, gosh, they're showing their true colors. Like, keep doing this. You're just going to keep losing elections time and time again, because this isolates the average American who maybe isn't strongly involved in politics, but recognizes that everyone should have the right to free speech. And what happened to Charlie Kirk is a line in the sand that we have gone to a very dark place as a country, and that, quite frankly, the only thing that can bring us back is a spirit of unity and revival.
Well, I think, the Democrats think that free speech includes shooting their political enemies.
Yeah, and the other thing, I mean, that's the thing that this last week has really pulled back the curtain on this assassination culture that has emerged. They've been cultivating this hatred for so long, and it's really gotten so deep. I honestly have to say, I don't fault these members of Congress for being concerned and wanting more money. I don't think they should get it, but I mean, I think this really crossed a line with Charlie Kirk. I'm hearing it from different organizations around Washington, D.C. A lot of groups are beefing up their security.
Mm-hmm. And Virginia mentioned the true colors of a lot of people, and those colors would be red and green for the alliance between communism and radical Islam, which is always an unfortunate thing to behold, but it's a very real thing.
It's Christmas in my book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
well,
right.
we have a lot more to talk about actually on this exact topic, and coming up, we saw that Turning Point USA officially announced the incredible speaker lineup for Charlie Kirk's massive memorial this weekend. But first, even with new information on the suspected assassin, who is obviously a left-wing psychopath, we see the left-wing media continue to push their narrative to fit their agenda. That is next.